What's up, guys? This is Brent with Western Equipment. Now let's jump right on in and start talking about the 2023 John Deere XUV 590E. Now the first thing that I'll lead with is that we are actually saying goodbye to this model in the John Deere lineup. So as we move into 2024, this model will no longer be available, but we are going to give it a few minutes here talking about it. That way its legacy is lived on here on the channel, so we can say that we have talked about this. So if you see one later on in the future, maybe a used one for sale that you're wanting to buy, at least you'll know a little bit about this machine. Now basically the easiest way to describe this machine is that this is going to be almost the exact same as the XUV 590M minus a couple of things. The big one is that this machine will not come with power steering. And the other thing is that since this is an E model, just like on a lot of John Deere model numbers, we have that ending letter that's going to be a trim level. So just the same here in the Gators, the E is going to be the economy level, the M would be your mid-spec, and the R would be the one with the most features. So this is also going to come without some of the glitz and glam, such things as the alloy wheels. You will not have that, and a few other luxury features. So we'll go ahead and start by talking about the engine, which is going to be located underneath your bed right back here. Now this is not the easiest engine to get to without taking this bed off, but it is a peppy little engine. It's going to be a 32 horsepower, 2-cylinder inline, fuel injected, and also liquid cooled engine. So therefore you are going to get a top speed of up to 48 miles an hour on this machine, and overall some pretty quick acceleration. So these mid-size utility vehicles are going to be not only great for work on the farm, but also could be a great recreational use vehicle as well. Now as far as the service points goes, these are going to be the exact same as the 590M, and I've done a lot more thorough review on that machine, so I'll go ahead and drop that down in the description below, where if you are looking for those exact things, you have a video to reference for that. What you're also going to find on this drive system is that CVT style drive transmission. This is going to be a belt drive transmission on this machine, and it is going to allow for that continuously variable speeds. Now what you'll have once we get up into the cab and you see our actual gear shift, what we're going to have on this machine is a park, reverse, high, low, and neutral position. So you do have a couple of different speed ranges to choose from on this machine, again with that top speed in that high gear topping out right around that 48 mile an hour mark. As we showed whenever we were opening this up to show where the engine was, you are going to have this tilt dump bed. This is going to come standard with the hand lever option, but you can add on to this machine a power option. So if that is something that you're looking for, you can add that to this machine. But once we have our bed closed down, what you're going to have is a 500-pound bed capacity. This is going to be a hard poly material. This is not going to be a metal bed. So one thing that you are going to miss out on this, you're going to miss out on that scraping, scratching it up, damaging that paint. You will not have that with this composite material. You're also going to have the single lever pickup style tailgate here, and this is also going to come with 4 tie down points inside the bed here, and also on top we're going to have the holes here. They go all the way around the top here of the bed, where you can add different attachments to this machine. So we can add such things as cargo rails, we can add those cargo box extenders that go up, many different options here to be able to customize this cargo box to your specific operation. Now here at the rear, a few features that we'd want to hit on. For one is you are going to have 4-wheel independent suspension on this machine. So as you will see right back here, we have the large shocks here at each one of our rear wheels on these independent A-arms coming off of the frame. You're going to have this same setup in the front as well, making for a really smooth ride on this machine. You're also going to have a locking rear differential on this machine. So if this is something that you think you may need for working or for playing, whatever those situations are where you're going to need that extra traction, you do have the option for that on this machine. And if you're not real sure what that locking rear differential does, I have a video over this as well that I'll make sure to drop that down in the description below as well. Now You're also going to have a 2-inch receiver hitch here at the rear. So if you have a trailer or something that you like to pull around the farm and you have a 2-inch ball on a shank that needs to go into that 2-inch receiver, you do have the option to hook that up, be able to pull that trailer, but you only have a towing capacity on this machine of around 1,500 pounds. So keep that in mind whenever you are putting that trailer on and whatever load you have, that we are staying around that 1,500 pound mark. Moving to the front of the machine, once again, this is going to be very, very similar to that XUV 590M, but one of those upgraded luxury features that this machine is not going to come with that does come on the XUV 590M is going to be at the headlights. So on this 590E, you're going to have the standard incandescent headlights as opposed to LEDs that you would get on that 590M. Now you're going to have those headlights come standard. You are still going to have the pop-out spots next to each one of those headlights where you could add turn signals to this machine if needed. You do have options that you can add to the front of this machine, such as a winch, such as a front bumper as we see on this machine. You also can add such things as the roof, the front windshield, all types of things to make sure and customize this machine the way that you want it. Now, one thing about this front brush guard here is that if we want to get underneath the hood, which we're going to, we will have to undo this front bumper. It's on an easy 2-pin system here. Simply pull out on this bumper and we're going to release both of our rubber tabs on either side, and then this hood will simply flip up. You're going to be able to get to the back of these headlights, so if you need to change those out or if you're adding those turn signals, have very easy access to that. You're also going to have access to your radiator cap here on top, and then right back behind that is going to be this storage tray here. That way, if you want to store things on board, you have this in the front as well as a covered storage. Now, this will also allow you access to that front suspension, as we can see here. And then over here on the left-hand side, we're going to have our brake fluid reservoir and also limited access to our front drive components. Now, these machines are going to have 4-wheel drive on them, so you do have that component that you may have to service from time to time, but if you do, these machines are very open and it's easy to get to those 4-wheel drive components. Now, before we hop into the operator station, let's talk about a few things here on the outside. As you can see, what is going to come standard on this machine is going to be the net doors here. These are going to be your standard operator retention system, but on these machines, you do have the options to adding half doors to this machine. You can also add full doors to this machine, as well as a rear panel along with that front windshield. So if you needed to completely enclose this machine, you would have that option. Now, also on the left-hand side here, or the driver's side, here is where your fuel tank is going to be located. Right down here is the cap. This is going to have a 7.4 gallon tank. And along with that, the fuel gauge is going to be on the front panel display, which we will show here in a minute when we get on the inside. Now, the seats that are going to come on this machine are going to be the black vinyl seats here. Of course, we still have the plastic covering these. These are how they're going to come from the factory to make sure and protect those seats whenever these machines make it to the dealership, to make sure they're in mint condition whenever you come to pick this machine up. But one of the nice things about this seat in the 590E is that it is going to raise up here, and what you're going to have is a small storage compartment there in the middle. You're going to have your battery and fuse panel over on the passenger side, and then here on the driver's side, you're going to have an opening where you can get to that fuel tank and a few of those fuel lines if you happen to have to do any maintenance in that area. All right, so once seated in the cab, what you're going to see is you are going to have 3 pop-outs over here to the left. These are going to be for those additional attachments that you may want to add to this machine. So if we want to add extra lights, we want to add those turn signals, whatever those things are that are going to require that electrical switch, we do have a panel for that. Then right here in the middle, we're going to have our digital display. Once we turn that key on, some of the things that we're going to see is a bunch of warning lights there at the top when we initially turn that on. We're going to have a seatbelt indicator light. Then once we get into the middle of the display here, what we're going to have is we are going to have our RPM gauge. We're also going to have our speedometer. We're going to have our engine temperature, and then of course our fuel gauge right down here. Then in the lower left-hand corner, what we're going to have is a picture of wheels and our axles. So one of those things that we have on this display that's very nice is something that shows us whenever we have activated our 4-wheel drive or our differential lock. So If we go to turn on that four-wheel drive and we hit that switch, what we're going to see is those front tires light up. Then if we turn that differential lock on, we hit that switch, we are going to have a lock here on our rear axle. Once we turn both of those switches back off, we're going to see those front tires go back to being open, and turn that differential lock switch off, and that lock goes away. Then moving up into the center of the display, this is where we're going to have our gear selection. So right now it is in park. If I go ahead and turn this machine on, what I can do is I can shift between those gears with my single lever over here to the right of my steering wheel. Going up from park, we go into reverse. One more goes to neutral. Then we go to high, and then lastly at the top is going to be our low position, all on one easy handle right over here to the right of the steering wheel. So here in the middle, this is where we're going to have our gear shift. Then we're going to have those two switches, our four-wheel drive and our differential lock. We're also going to have one open switch right down here below those, another one to the left of that, which is going to be for attachments. Then if we move even further to the left, we are going to have three more of those knockouts and also our headlight switch right up here. So we have plenty of availability here in the dash to add whatever those attachments are we want to this machine. Now also here in the center, we are going to have a 12-volt outlet. So if you need to have that phone charger, whatever those different things are on board, you have that available. Right above there, we are going to have our two cup holders. Then over here to the right in front of our passenger, we are going to have that glove box. This is normally where we are going to find our operator manual. And within that operator manual, we will have a shock spanner tool. Now this is the tool that you're going to need to adjust your suspension. And if this is something that you have never done on your machine before, but maybe think that you need to, I have a video on this as well. I will leave that down in the description below, so make sure to check that out. The colors that you can see these in are going to be the standard John Deere green and yellow that we see here. You're going to have an olive and black option and also a camo option. Now let's talk a little bit about dimensions. So what we're going to get from the front to the back, you're going to be 103 inches long. For the width, you are going to be 56.5 inches wide, and at the tallest point, you're going to be 73.5 inches tall. So that is going to be without the roof. Now, if we add the roof to this machine, you're going to add a couple inches here. So make sure to take note of that if you are going to be storing this machine into any type of tight spaces. Now, as far as warranty goes on this machine, what you're going to have is a 1-year, 1,000-hour warranty, whichever one comes first. That is going to be an all-inclusive from the front to the back, but you can add extra warranty to these machines. So whenever you're going into that dealership and you're looking at one of these, if the extra warranty is something that you are interested in, make sure that you're talking to your salesman about that. Now, when we're talking to the salesman, price is going to be one of those things that we need to talk about. Now, since this model is going out, I would highly suggest that you're asking about that price, seeing if there's any incentives on these machines, seeing if there's any discounts that you qualify for, and seeing what those finance options are, to make sure that you get in this machine for the price that you want. So guys, I hope this video helped you out. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, we just ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also guys, if you are needing any John Deere parts at all, make sure to go check us out at 247parts.com. And as always guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Hey guys, make sure to check out this cool video and this one. Buy your parts right up here and subscribe right here.